What if darkness isn't the end, but a message? What if black holes don't just erase, but reveal? In 1974, a young physicist heard the silence speak, and what he found changed everything. Because maybe information isn't eternal. It can vanish into the void. And if that's true, then nothing we know is truly safe. How is that possible? Let me show you. Until now, we've always thought of black holes as perfect prisons, incredibly simple, incredibly silent, swallowing everything, releasing nothing, gravitational anomalies meant to exist forever. But in 1974, a young physicist named Stephen Hawking made a discovery that completely transformed our understanding. This radiation, known as Hawking radiation, has extremely long wavelengths and very low energy. But regardless, it means black holes gradually lose energy over time, and when something loses energy, it must also lose mass. So maybe black holes aren't just monsters that grow endlessly. Maybe they slowly evaporate into nothingness. The radiation Hawking calculated isn't like sunlight or microwaves. It's purely thermal, nearly perfectly random, which means it carries no information. And this leads to a terrifying possibility. Black holes might be destroying information in our universe. In physics, completely random means something carries no information. But this contradicts one of the most sacred laws of physics. Information must be conserved. Just as energy can neither be created nor destroyed, information should not vanish. But Hawking radiation seems to violate that law. This is what we call the black hole information paradox. So what happens if you commit a sin and burn a book? It catches fire, burns, and soon turns into ash, vapor, and heat, right? But according to modern physics, if we could capture all the matter and energy released in that process, we could theoretically reconstruct that book, including its words. Because information isn't destroyed, it just changes form. But the Hawking radiation emitted by black holes does not contain the kind of information present in something like fire. According to Hawking's calculations, this radiation is completely random, and that directly violates one of physics' core principles. Information must be conserved. In physics, this is a full-blown crisis. That's why it's called the black hole information paradox. In the 1990s, Don Page, one of Hawking's students, made a discovery that undermined this theory. According to him, information didn't become unrecoverable at the end of a black hole's life, but rather at the midpoint of its existence. This is called the Page time. But why would a still massive black hole suddenly start behaving differently? There was no physical explanation, and so the theory fell apart. In 2019, physicists like Jehan and Ahmed Almeri noticed a missing piece in Hawking's original calculation. Hawking had only considered a single space-time geometry, but in quantum mechanics, all possible paths must be considered simultaneously. The new calculations used bizarre space-time tunnels called replica wormholes, and these tunnels could link the inside of a black hole to the radiation it emitted millions of years ago. When these new calculations were completed, physicists encountered a stunning result. The amount of information in a black hole's radiation changes over time, and that change follows the Page curve, exactly as Don Page had predicted. This means Hawking radiation isn't as random as once thought. There's a structured system connecting the inside and outside of the black hole in terms of information, a system far more complex than Hawking could have imagined back in 1974. We already know that not even light can escape from inside the event horizon of a black hole. But with this new interpretation of Hawking radiation, we now realize this radiation carries the information of matter from inside the black hole. So then, how can the information of something inside the black hole be embedded in radiation that's escaping outside? Perhaps the inside and outside of black holes aren't so different after all. Black holes don't have a real surface like stars or planets. They are just warps in the fabric of space-time. Yet in the 1970s, physicist Jacob Bekenstein discovered that black holes have entropy and temperature, because entropy is actually a measure of the hidden information an object possesses. That's why black holes might be acting like information storage devices. Normally, an object's entropy relates to its volume, but Bekenstein's calculations showed that a black hole's entropy is not proportional to its volume, but to the surface area of its event horizon. It's as if nature cares less about what's inside the black hole and more about what's happening on its boundary. This is mind-bending, like saying all the knowledge in a library is written on the wallpaper. If all the information about a 3D object can be represented on a 2D surface, that's what we call holography. In black holes, the event horizon might be storing information about everything that falls in. And if that's true, then the event horizon isn't just a passive boundary, it's an active information surface. Maybe black holes are like the hard drives of the universe. If you fall into a black hole, the gravitational pull on different parts of your body increases, stretching you thinner and thinner. This is called spaghettification. You're torn apart down to your atoms, even your quarks. But if a distant friend were watching you, they would never see you actually fall in. From their view, you would freeze at the event horizon and fade away slowly. That's called incineration, total disintegration. So, which one is real? You, falling into the black hole, have your own set of information, the structure of your atoms, the interaction of your molecules, but your friend, watching from afar, sees you freeze and fade at the event horizon. These two sets of information are completely different. So which one is true? According to quantum mechanics, both can't be, because the no-cloning theorem says quantum information can't be perfectly copied. To resolve this, physicist Leonard Susskind proposed a theory, black hole complementarity, and according to this theory, both can be true because they can never be compared. ER stands for the Einstein-Rosen bridge, a wormhole. EPR refers to the famous paper by Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen on quantum entanglement. But what if they are really the same phenomenon expressed differently? What if quantum entanglement is just a microscopic wormhole connecting two particles in space-time? Then the information inside the black hole and the Hawking radiation outside could already be linked through entanglement. In that case, information was never truly lost. Everything we've talked about isn't just armchair philosophy. Each of these ideas is rooted in the fundamental laws of physics, backed by mathematics. Sure, we don't yet have the technology to test all of this, but considering how often science has kept its promises, we should take these ideas seriously, because one day, the idea that information can't be lost may help protect our children's data, and quantum breakthroughs may transform our lives. Science is often about staring into infinite darkness, but remember, sometimes the light comes from us. We may not have billion-dollar labs or giant telescopes at our fingertips, but we still have the most powerful thing of all, curiosity, because sometimes it's not a black hole that reveals the universe's greatest mysteries. It's the eye of a child staring into space. If you found this video fascinating, remember, science isn't just for physicists. It's a shared human journey. If we want to understand the darkness, we must face it together.